Welcome back, everybody, to Passage to Profit with Richard and Elizabeth Gearhart. I am Kenya Gibson sitting in for Richard today. And Elizabeth, this has been such a great show so far.
Oh my gosh, I just can't believe how amazing people are. you know, it's wonderful.
It's been great. And we've saved the best for last, right? Wine. We're going to talk about wine. So
Yep.
we have Jake Kloberdanz. I already messed that up. Of One Hope Wine. He's here with us today to talk all things wine. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Coach Kenya, Elizabeth, and the whole crew. I don't know if it's best for last, but I think the wine part you're right about. Like we're going to end it with a good splash here.
For sure, for sure. So tell us about your brand and your story and how you got started.
Yeah. Well, One Hope, our purpose is to nourish the future. So that's why we exist. And we serve that purpose day in and day out through our mission to share wine and give hope to people. And so we started with that as our purpose and our mission from day one. We've been built on hope and rooted in purpose. And each different bottle of wine that we sell gives back to different causes across the country. We help power over 3,000 events a month that bring people together around wine to raise money and awareness for different causes. And we empower over 7,000 people around the nation and growing quickly who make a part-time or full-time income off of our wine platform and are able to share wine and give hope and contribute to their family's bottom line as well. And so it's a really unique way to bring wine to people and get people to gather around it. And there's also a purpose built into every bottle as well. So not only is it a fundraising device for people who want to raise money for their local cause of choice, but we also give back to national and global causes as a company.
It's wonderful. And then how did you get, like, why wine? Like, how did you get involved in all of this?
You know, I started in wine right out of college. I went to UC Berkeley and I kind of checked all the boxes for this really big wine company. They're the largest in the world. And they hired me out of college. And my main focus was getting to Newport Beach because I had visited there while I was going to Berkeley. And I took this job. It sounded really romantic to sell wine down in Newport Beach. And really, I found myself in the back of grocery stores at like 3:30 in the morning or 4 in the morning. And I would do a bunch of manual labor so that I could get the best display spots around the store. So you make friends with the liquor manager in the store, the person who runs the bread area, so on and so forth. And one morning I was stocking the shelves with canned soup, Campbell's actually, and they were giving back towards Susan G. Komen and towards breast cancer awareness in October. And then I went over to the milk box after that and I was stocking it with Yoplait yogurt and I noticed the lids and they were giving back towards breast cancer. And that was when it first dawned on me that these products that were giving back towards a cause were really selling off the shelves. And I knew because I was stocking them. And I had the idea at that point, and that was back in 2005. I did what most people do when they have that aha moment, which is nothing. For about 6 months. And then I got a call from one of my best friends from growing up. And she told me that she had blood cancer and it was a turning point in my life. And I had this idea that had been simmering on. And I flew back home to see her and told her I was going to start the company. And the next day I founded it. And that was in 2006. Got a winemaker to make our first 168 cases, loaded them up in a public storage unit and was in business. And today we're one of the 250 largest wineries in the US out of 10,000. And we're going to be the largest direct to consumer wine brand in the US in the next couple of years. So.
Good for you. Congratulations. I mean, that's amazing. You make it sound so seamless and simple, but I'm sure it wasn't. So what are some of the challenges along the way that you felt, alluded to your success that you could share?
No, it was just as easy as I made it sound, Coach Kenya. It was just like seamless. No, I'm kidding. It's a 10 plus year overnight success is what I joke around about. And by the way, my friend, she is doing really well. She's a mom of 3. Her name's Morgan, and she's been over 10 years cancer free, just to put a little closure on that. So there's a really happy ending there. But when you get inspired by something and it puts you in touch with your mortality, and in a way it actually makes you even more brave. But it's a funny dynamic of those two things, of scaring the heck out of you and making you realize, your time on earth is short, but also making you bolder and more brave. And so, but along the way, there were tons of challenges. I mean, it's really expensive to build a wine brand. I didn't come from a family in the wine industry, so I didn't really know that much about what I was really jumping into. I was doing one little part of it, and I was working with a huge company, so I had no clue how hard it was for that wine to show up at the drop-off point where the trucks unloaded it at the grocery store, and I wasn't part of making the wine. And so I had to work my way back from that little final endpoint back to how it's sourced all the way back to the vineyards themselves. And over time, we've learned the entire part of all parts of the industry versus just the sales side of it. Lots of challenges with finding the wine, getting it moved around. Behind the scenes, our largest departments, our technology team and engineers. We build software that allows us to power such a scalable platform that shares wine and gives hope at scale to across the country. And building an engineering team after building a mostly sales and marketing team, and building out operations and fulfillment and shipping. And each little step along the way has been challenging in and of itself. And our most recent one was, developing our own flagship property just north of Opus One in the heart of Napa Valley, and buying a vineyard there and developing out a home and this beautiful winery on the property, which has been another 5-year overnight success. And each step was challenging.
So the next time I get to Napa, I'm definitely coming by there. I hope that's sooner rather than later, but I know Carrie has something to say.
I'm so glad to hear you say a 10-year overnight success and a 5-year overnight success, because I came into my business with zero knowledge of, I say this often because it's true. I was 6 months in before I knew what a P&L was. And that's not an exaggeration. I'm still a little dicey on the concept, but and I have these moments daily. So I'm fascinated to hear what they were for you. You ever have a moment, Jake, where you're like, holy bleepity bleep bleep bleep, what the heck did I get myself into? And then how do you come out of that?
Yeah, I've had a lot of moments like that, and I'm really fortunate to have a handful of co-founders. There were 5 other people that have been with me since day one. There's 6 co-founders at the company, and we all started early on in our career. And so if one of us is in a funk, it's okay. But there's never been a day where all of us were. So surrounding yourself with great people who can pick you up when you need it the most. One of my biggest jobs as CEO of the company, it doesn't show up on paper. And I tell people it's keeping the band together, and so it's looking out for other people when they're having one of those days. And I know what the energy that I put into my partners, you get back when you need it the most, And so it's that. And my friend Morgan, every once in a while, will drop me a text on that perfect day when I'm feeling sorry for myself or I'm dragging. And I'll get a text that she's like something about being proud of us or believing in us or whatever else. And so it's really serendipitous, those moments as well. And lucky to have a lot of good mentors around me.
It's been interesting because Clelia mentioned that, and Susan touched on it as well. And Dan, certainly, like having that core group of people around you who sort of intuitively know when you need a quick either pick me up or a good, kick in the butt, one or the other, or maybe both. Do you ever use wine to pick yourself back up?
Rarely.
I do.
No, wine is one of those great products. I use wine to connect with people and to truly get to know them. And over a glass of wine, I've had some of my most amazing conversations. We like to say that a good wine will remind you of the wine, but a great wine will remind you of the place and the people you're with. And wine is all about the place It's all about people, and it's about memories and creating memories. And that's why it's the people you are with. And that's an important part of it. Our brand has the words one and hope in the name. And those are two of our core values from the beginning, hope and unity, right? And so whenever I forget about that, it's right there in the name. And so we're all about hope. So it's easy for me to pick other people up and give them hope with what we do every day with sharing wine and giving hope.
So Jake, I want to go to Dan with the last question, but one real quick question. Are all of your wines labeled under One Hope Wine, or do you have different labels on them?
Almost all of them are under One Hope Wine, and you can see them all at onehopewine.com.
Okay.
But we also have a sister wine brand, Estate 8, which is our small production, kind of uber high-end, high-touch wine that we do off of the property in Napa. And then we also have a joint partnership with John Elway, and we have created 7 Cellars wine brand and portfolio with him. And so those are the 3 wine brands that you'd find on the site, but 95% plus of what we sell is under the One Hope brand.
Okay, so we have time for one more quick question and answer from Dan, and then we'll be out of time for this segment. This is great.
Jake, I want to first of all congratulate you. It's such a wonderful business you created, and you should be very proud of all the people you're helping while you're doing what you're doing. One question for you is, you mentioned that a big part of your program is about giving to charity and giving to good causes. How do you pick those causes, and what makes the cause the right cause for your program?
Yeah, great question. We have a 15-point guideline that we've used in the past to kind of guide us on nonprofits, and they range from everything from, are they a 501c3 to have they been around for at least 3 years, because about 90% of nonprofits don't last that long, all the way to more unique things like how many cents on the dollar go to the end cause and versus administration, to things like, do they have a dollar to impact ratio? Can they quantify what a dollar means in funding meals for children fighting hunger or for bringing clean water to people? And so we try to stay focused. Our giving strategy going forward is really on the focused on 4 core pillars: hunger, water, health, and education. And there's a lot of things that go into there. And then we also give our cause entrepreneurs around the nation the ability to work with hosts to raise money for their cause of choice. So we have wine parties going on. Like tonight, we have close to 100 wine tastings going on that are raising money for their local school or their breast cancer walk or whatever cause they want. And so we have a lot of elements that allow people to raise money. We've helped raise money for over 20,000 nonprofits at that local level. But when it comes to our larger nonprofits that we donate to as an overall company, we look at those 4 main pillars: hunger, water, health, and education. And then we do real-time grants as well to like right now we're doing our holiday magic grants, where we're making grants to families with children with disability who have really been disrupted by what's going on with the pandemic, and making holiday miracles come true for them. We've done other topical things like that, funding micro grants for mothers in hospitality who have lost their jobs since COVID, healthcare hero packages for our healthcare heroes on the front line, and a bunch more. So we give ourselves room to do stuff real time. We have our big overarching nonprofits that we give to year round and over the years. And then we also have a platform that allows people to raise locally. But when we think about our national and global causes, we use those guidelines.
Excellent. Wow. You make me want to drink way more wine than I should.
Well, that's the great thing about the wine too, Elizabeth, is our brand promise, we start at $25 or under for wines that are 90 point rated or more, and ones that we'd be proud to have on our dinner table. My favorite right now is our red blend. It's a 96 point rated wine that's $25 or less when you buy it. So we stand by our wine, and we take our wines really seriously, but we don't take ourselves too seriously. So it's a fun brand. It's a hopeful brand. And the wine in the bottle is really, really great. It comes from the heart of Napa Valley and some of the other best regions in California.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Jake. My heart is really warm right now. So you are listening to Passage to Profit, the Inventor Show with Richard and Elizabeth Gearhart. And Kenya Gibson standing in for Richard, our guest Dan Pincus, our executive spotlight interviewer Carrie Barrett, our executive spotlight Kalilia Pergola, and our two presenters Susan Gantz and Jake Kloberdanz. And we will be right back with Kenya's and my segments after this message.